she vanished without a word. One day, she was in your arms, whispering love. The next, nothing. You checked your phone 100 times, replayed every moment, dissected every text. You convinced yourself she needed space, that she'd return once she realized what she lost. But deep inside, a darker voice whispered, what if she never comes back? What if she's already replaced you? What if you meant nothing at all? You're not alone. Thousands are trapped in the same agony. Ghosted, ignored, forgotten, still loyal to someone who left without looking back. They tell you to go no contact, but let's be real. No contact is not enough. If you're still counting the days, still watching her stories, still hoping, then you're not healing. You're shackled in silence, a prisoner to an illusion. Today, we shatter that. This video isn't comfort, it's confrontation. You don't need soft words. You need the raw, brutal, liberating truth. This isn't about her. It's about you. What you do in no contact decides whether she regrets leaving or forgets you completely. You have two choices: fade into nothingness or rise into something greater than she ever imagined. Comment below. I rise in silence. 1. Stop hoping she'll come back. Right now, you're stuck in an endless loop, telling yourself she might still care. You whisper, maybe she still thinks about me. Maybe she's just confused. Maybe she'll come back when she realizes what we had. But let me be real with you. She's not thinking about you. She's not confused. She didn't just forget to text. She walked away because in her mind, she could. And the more you sit in that illusion, the more you wait, the more you waste. You believe no contact is strength, but if you're still checking her social media, still analyzing old messages, still imagining her with someone else, then you're not in control. You're in quiet desperation. You're just muting the noise while the obsession rots you from the inside. You miss someone who doesn't exist anymore. She was a season, not a forever. And yet, you keep trying to make winter stay in summer. She didn't just leave. She measured your worth and decided she could do better. That shouldn't break you. It should ignite you. While you wait, she's moving forward. While you doubt yourself, she's being desired by someone who doesn't even know your name. That should make you furious. Not at her, but at yourself for ever needing someone else to validate your worth. You think silence makes her miss you. It doesn't. Silence without change is just empty noise. What are you doing during no contact? Scrolling? Fantasizing? Wasting hours imagining a reunion? You think she's out there regretting you, but she's not. She's out there enjoying her decision. Why? Because she doesn't feel your absence as a loss. And that's your fault. You made yourself invisible instead of magnetic. If you want her to regret leaving, become unforgettable. If you want her to wonder about you, become unrecognizable. 2. Obsession over evolution. Forget her. Obsess over you. Every ounce of pain she left behind, channel it into your body, into your mind, into your grind. Wake up early. Destroy yourself in the gym. Build a physique that commands respect. Starve your emotions with action. Read the books that school never taught you. Learn the psychology of attraction, the game of power. Cut off porn. Cut off social media stalking. Cut off weak friends who drain your energy. Build a frame so strong no woman can shake it. Start a side hustle. Fix your posture. Learn to fight, not for violence, but to feel what strength is. Train your discipline. Cold showers, fasting, mental toughness. Sit with your loneliness until it no longer controls you. You're not here to beg for love. You're here to earn loyalty. She expected you to break. She thought you'd spiral. She thought you'd come crawling back with "I miss you" texts. She expected you to post sad quotes, to wallow, to pause your life for her absence. But what if instead of crumbling, you rebuilt? What if her leaving wasn't rejection, but permission for your rebirth? Right now, you have a choice. Wait for someone who left, or become the man who make her memory irrelevant. Do you want to be the guy who sends "I miss you" texts at 2 a.m.? Or the man she silently stalks from a burner account because your glow-up burns her ego? Ask yourself, if she saw me now, would she feel regret or relief? If the answer is relief, then you have work to do. 3. No contact is war. No contact isn't just ignoring her. A war against the emotional weakness that put her on a pedestal. A war against the self-doubt that made you tolerate disrespect. A war against the fantasy you keep feeding. Every day, you either build or break. You either rise or rot. Most men rot, politely, quietly, praying for closure. But closure isn't given. It's built through discipline. Want closure? Outgrow her memory. Become so locked into your grind that she becomes a blurred chapter in a book she's no longer allowed to read. You owe her nothing. Not one thought. Not one tear. You don't exist to prove your worth to someone who couldn't see it. You exist to become a man who commands respect without words. You think she'll miss you because you're silent? No. She'll miss you when your silence becomes evidence of your evolution. When she realizes she no longer has access to the man you've become. When she sees that the comfort you once gave now belongs to someone who earned it. The goal isn't to get her back. The goal is to get you back, the primal, focused, purpose-driven version of yourself that got buried under validation-seeking, approval-hungry behavior. You miss her because she represented comfort, identity. But she also represented stagnation. She didn't challenge you. She tamed you. She softened you. And now you rebuild. Brick by bloody brick. This isn't bitterness. This is boundaries. She left? Good. Now build. And when she resurfaces, as they always do, you won't even flinch. Because you'll realize the man she left behind was never the man you were meant to be. That man is being forged now. In silence. In sweat. In hunger. In self-respect. So stop checking your phone. Stop scrolling her feed. Stop wondering if she'll come back. She doesn't deserve the new you. And you don't need her memory as motivation. Move with purpose. Dress with presence. Speak with power. And when the doubt creeps in, when the loneliness screams, when your mind begs you to reach out, go harder. Train more. Build more. Earn more. Think deeper. Read longer. Sleep less. Speak less. Move smarter. Become so dangerous to your old self that she wouldn't even recognize the soul standing in your eyes. This isn't a breakup. This is your awakening. This is your era. The silent season where kings rise. While others hope, you evolve. While others wait, you win. While others beg, you build. Be the man who never needed her to feel worthy. Be the man who thanks her, not for staying, but for leaving. Because her absence gave you something priceless. Your resurrection. You rise now, not for revenge, not for validation, but because even you forgot how powerful you were before she made you doubt it. Now, you remember, and now you build. Like a man on fire. 1. Look in the mirror and face the truth. You are not here by accident. You're here because of decisions, because of patterns, because of blind spots you refuse to see. She didn't vanish overnight. She detached, slowly, day by day, while you stayed the same. Predictable, safe, tame. You look in the mirror, but you don't see yourself. You see a shell built from comfort, weakness, emotional dependence, an identity crafted around her attention. You think she woke up one day and stopped loving you? No, she outgrew the illusion she had of you, the one you fueled by being passive, agreeable, weak. You became a routine, and women don't leave men they admire. They leave men who forgot how to lead, how to ignite that primal respect that can't be faked. Before she left, she tested you. She questioned your ambition. She pulled back. She stopped being affectionate. You noticed. But instead of drawing a line, you begged. Instead of walking away, you tolerated. Instead of owning your worth, you compromised. You thought being available was strength. You thought patience would win her back. You thought proving your love would make her stay. But the moment you tried to earn her loyalty after she began withdrawing it, you lost her because she didn't want to leave. She wanted a man who commanded respect. A man whose presence felt like gravity. A man whose absence felt like a wound. But you gave her softness. You gave her apologies. You gave her unlimited access to your emotions. You handed her your heart, but forgot to give her a reason to respect the man holding it. 2. Rebuild from the ground up. This is your sacred season. Not to miss her, not to stalk her, not to mourn the old dynamic, but to dissect yourself. Who are you without a woman in your life? Can you lead yourself? Can you discipline yourself? Can you wake up at 5 a.m. and chase a goal without her validation? Or were you just a passenger in your own life, waiting for her affection to make you feel alive? She doesn't want a man who worships her. She wants a man she can't figure out, a man who doesn't flinch, a man who makes her elevate herself just to stand beside him. If she left, it's because that's not who you were, but it's who you become now. In the mirror, in the quiet, in the suffering, you rebuild everything. Your body, your mind, your income, your posture, your social circle, your self-respect. No more people-pleasing. No more emotional outbursts. No more fake masculinity masking as anger. You face your truth without flinching. You admit. Red circle you, let yourself go. Physically, mentally, spiritually. Red circle you wanted her more than you respected yourself. Red circle you were scared to lose her because deep down, you believed you couldn't do better. And now, you prove that fear wrong. You expose every insecurity. You burn every excuse. You journal until your emotions bleed onto the page. You train until your body screams. You set goals that scare you. You cut off every toxic friend draining your energy. You stop escaping. Prohibited no more mindless scrolling. Prohibited no more porn. Prohibited no more drinking to numb. You start facing the storm. You love the silence. You become the man who doesn't need affection to feel powerful. Because you are power, whether loved, hated, or feared. That's what you were born for. Not to chase love, but to radiate dominance. Not to beg for validation, but to command respect. 3. Train until you're unrecognizable. Your body doesn't lie. It's the reflection of every decision you've made when no one was watching. Look at yourself. Are you proud? Or are you comfortable? Are you built for war? Or waiting for love? She looked at you and saw softness, not just in your body, but in your presence, your posture, your eyes. She didn't feel fire. She didn't feel fear. She didn't feel the heat that commands respect without a word. That's why she left. Not because of chemistry, not because of compatibility, but because of polarity. She needed to feel your power, not in words, not in texts, not in promises, in aura. And your aura starts with discipline. You don't get it by journaling alone. You don't become magnetic by reading quotes. You become it through steel, through pain, through sweat, through a routine that breaks and rebuilds you. You build a physique that silences rooms. You move in a way that makes other men step back, and women lean in without even knowing why. You enter every space like a storm, unshaken, unapologetic, unstoppable, because you're no longer waiting. You're no longer hoping. You are no longer the man she left behind. You are reborn. And when she looks at you again, she won't just miss you. She won't even recognize you. Because you didn't just change. You resurrected. Your resurrection. This is your season of silence. The season where kings are made. While others wait, you win. While others hope, you evolve. While others beg, you build. Be the man who never needed her to feel worthy. Be the man who thanks her, not for staying, but for leaving. Because her absence gave you the greatest gift, your resurrection. You rise now, not for revenge, not for validation, but because deep down, even you forgot how powerful you were before she came down. Now, you remember, and now you build. Like a man on fire. 2. Face the truth. Look in the mirror. Face reality. You are not here by accident. You are here because of choices, patterns, blind spots you refuse to see. She didn't just vanish overnight. She detached piece by piece while you stayed the same. Predictable, safe, tame. She stopped feeling inspired by you. She stopped admiring you. Not because she's cruel, not because she changed, but because you did. You became comfortable in your weakness. You became soft. You let her lead. You let her control the power dynamic. And once she realized she had all the power, she lost attraction. Women don't leave men they admire. They leave the ones who forgot how to lead. She tested you. She questioned your ambition. She pulled back. She stopped being affectionate. And you noticed. But instead of setting a boundary, you begged. Instead of walking away, you tolerated. Instead of demanding respect, you compromised. And that's when you lost her. Not because she stopped loving you, but because you stopped being a man she could respect. Now, during this silence, This is your sacred season. Not to miss her, not to stalk her, not to mourn the past, but to rebuild. Who are you without a woman in your life? Can you wake up at 5 a.m. and chase a goal without her validation? Or were you just existing, waiting for her attention to feel alive? Women don't want a man who worships them. They want a man they can't figure out. A man who commands respect. A man who leads. If she left, it's because that's not who you were. But that's who you become now. 3. Train until you're unrecognizable. Your body does not lie. It is the physical reflection of every decision you've made in silence. Look at yourself. Are you proud or are you comfortable? She looked at you and saw softness. Not just in your body, but in your presence, your posture, your eyes. She didn't feel fire. She didn't feel fear. She didn't feel the undeniable energy of a man on a mission. That's why she left. You thought it was about chemistry, about compatibility. It wasn't. It was about polarity. She needed to feel your power, not in words, but in your aura. And that starts with discipline. You don't get it by journaling. You don't get it by reading quotes. You get it through steel, through pain, through sweat. So train. Train until your body speaks before you do. Train until your walk makes noise in her soul. Train until she can't look at your profile without feeling regret punch her in the chest. And most importantly, train until you no longer care. Because this isn't about her anymore. This is about you. Reclaim your edge. Wake up before the world. Cold showers. Fasted cardio. Read. Meditate. Hit the gym with rage in your chest and clarity in your mind. No more sugar. No more alcohol. No more excuses. Discipline isn't a trend. It's your birthright. And your future deserves a man who does not break under pressure. You don't train for revenge. You train because strength is freedom. When your body is a weapon, your mind is calm. When you know you can endure pain, you stop fearing loss. You stop fearing rejection. You stop fearing her leaving. Because now, you've built silence within yourself. And that silence is louder than any attention she could give. 4. Build a mind she can't manipulate. She controlled you without touching you. A pause in her reply, a shift in her tone, and your entire world changed. You replayed conversations. You begged silence to speak. You let her train you like a dog chasing validation. That ends now, because this is deeper than love. This is psychological warfare. And if your mind is weak, no amount of muscle or money will save it. Every thought that orbits around her will kill it on sight. Not because you're heartless, but because you're at war. You reclaim your mind where you stay her puppet. And you do it brick by brick. You control your mornings. Before the world speaks, you speak to yourself. Read books that make you sharper. Journal the truths you've been afraid to admit. Meditate. Not to relax, but to observe. To break patterns. To burn lies. Because this silence is not your enemy. It is your rebirth. This is how you win. You don't heal by avoiding pain. You heal by embracing it. You stare into the abyss of every weakness you've hidden under romance. And you say it dies today. Because if you don't, the next woman will see the same weakness. She'll see the same excuses. And she'll leave the same way. This is bigger than her. This is about your future. Your legacy. Your kingdom. No more softness. No more waiting. No more begging. You were not born to chase love. You were born to radiate dominance. To command respect. She was never your purpose. She was just a mirror. A mirror showing you everything you lacked. And now, that mirror is shattered. All that's left is you. Raw. Real. Rebuilding. And when she looks at you again, she won't even recognize the man standing in front of her. Because he didn't just change. He resurrected. Become immune. You must become so mentally fortified that if she called, cried, or begged, you wouldn't even flinch. Not because you don't care, but because you see through it. You've studied manipulation. You've dissected human nature. You know how guilt is used, how fear is triggered, how love is weaponized. And now, you're immune. You don't beg for clarity. You create it. You don't wait for closure. You decide it. You don't wish for peace. You become it. The moment your mind is unshakable, her control dies. Because women can't manipulate men they don't emotionally know. So take back your emotions. Command them. Comfort them. Every ounce of pain is raw energy. It either breaks you or builds you. You decide. She left. She moved on. She didn't choose you. Fine. But that's not the end. That's the spark. And now, you turn it into a fire that never dies. You don't do this to impress her. You do this to liberate yourself. Because a man who is mentally free is the most dangerous man alive. He sees through games. He doesn't chase what doesn't choose him. He isn't addicted to feminine energy. He loves it. He appreciates it. But he never needs it. His purpose is his addiction. His growth is his mistress. His silence is sacred. And his mind? His mind is a kingdom where no one enters without earning access. That's who you become now. 2. Take back your power. No contact isn't about ignoring her. It's about erasing her power over you. You don't study women to control them. You study women to understand why you fell, why you tolerated so much, why you ignored your gut, why you put her first when she saw you as a backup. You look at your past and dissect it like a crime scene. Not to blame, but to never repeat. You learn frame. You learn boundaries. You learn how to say no without flinching. You stop over-explaining. You stop defending yourself. You stop trying to be understood by people committed to misunderstanding you. You don't seek validation. You exude direction. You stop texting paragraphs. You start speaking in presence. You stop proving your worth. You start being worth it. That shift doesn't happen overnight. It's built in every decision, in every time you resist the urge to text her, in every time you catch yourself fantasizing and pull yourself back, in every morning you wake up with war in your veins and clarity in your chest. You build habits that reflect who you're becoming, not who you were. You don't skip workouts. You don't miss reading. You don't entertain distractions. You live like your future self is watching. Because he is. And he's begging you to stop being a slave to a woman who discarded you. She's not the villain. She was just the mirror. She showed you what you lacked. And now, in the silence, you either shatter that mirror, or you let it define you forever. 3. Lead a life that makes her irrelevant. She expected your life to slow down without her. She assumed you'd sit in silence, scrolling through her feed, wondering who she's with, waiting for a message that never comes. Because that's what most men do after a breakup. They collapse. They pause. They grieve. Meanwhile, she keeps moving. But you? Your edge is forged in the shadows. And the real question is, are you building something so undeniable that her memory doesn't even survive in your world anymore? She became the center of your thoughts because you made her the center of your life. You stopped evolving the moment she entered the picture. You adjusted your routines. You lowered your standards. You bent your plans to match her comfort. And now that she's gone, you're disoriented, like a king who forgot how to run his own kingdom. That ends today. You stop making her absence the theme of your life. You start creating such a powerful presence that her memory shrinks into insignificance. You wake up and attack your day with force, not for revenge, but because there's purpose burning in your chest. You don't check your phone for her name anymore, because your mission is louder than her silence. You don't fantasize about making her regret leaving, because you're too busy becoming the man who wouldn't even let her back in. You rebuild your identity from the ruins. You pick up the pieces of the man you once were and melt them into steel. You lead your life like a man possessed, not by pain, but by direction. Your calendar is full of things that matter. Your time is expensive. Your energy is sacred. You start a business. You improve your craft. You expand your mind. You create systems that turn chaos into order. And that consistency, it becomes your character. And that character, that becomes your new currency. 4. The silent revenge. While she seeks validation, you seek legacy. While she poses for attention, you build in silence. While she flirts with strangers, you network with men who challenge you. You become so focused that she starts to feel your absence. Not because you're quiet, but because you're unreachable. Because when a woman senses she's been replaced by purpose, she feels it deeper than if she were replaced by another woman. She knows she can compete with other women, but she can't compete with a man locked into his mission. Your glow up isn't just physical. It's spiritual. It's financial. It's mental. You don't just change what you look like. You change how you move, how you speak, how you make decisions. Every choice you make echoes through your future. Every book you finish, every dollar you stack, every rep in the gym. It adds to the gap between who she remembers and who you've become. And that gap, that's power. That's respect. That's your revenge. Silent, mature, untouchable. And one day, she will feel that energy from a distance. And in that moment, regret won't come from your silence. It will come from your elevation. Because while she moved on out of boredom, you moved up out of discipline. And now, you are irreplaceable. Not because you were loved, but because you became great. And that, brother, is how you win. Became the man love chased is, and you lead your life from that place now. You make moves she doesn't know about. You create results she can't ignore. You don't need her curiosity. You don't crave her reaction. You're too far ahead. You don't talk about growth. You embody it. You don't seek closure. You create chapters so powerful that the past becomes irrelevant. And you don't obsess over the woman who left you. Attract the kind of woman who would never dare to. That's what happens when you lead a life that's so complete, so disciplined, so intentional that no woman becomes your anchor again. She becomes a footnote, a phase, a distant lesson wrapped in a beautiful face. And you become the man she'll never understand. Because you're no longer who she left you. You don't need her validation. You don't need her forgiveness. You don't need her look back. Because your eyes are set on the summit. And every day, every habit, every decision is a step closer to the man you were always meant to become. The one she wasn't patient enough to see, the one she wasn't deep enough to respect, the one she could never handle. And now she's no longer relevant, not because she wasn't beautiful, but because your life became too powerful to make room for someone who couldn't see your potential when it was still being built. That's the goal of no contact, not to wait, not to wonder, but to win quietly, consistently, unapologetically. Number 6, burn the weakness out of you, weakness out of you. She didn't leave because she wanted something better. She left because she saw that you didn't have the strength to become it. Weakness isn't just about being soft. Weakness is hesitation. Weakness is compliance. Weakness is the quiet fear you carry behind your words, your eyes, your body language. Weakness is when you let her test your limits and you never push back, when you think being nice will keep her loyal, when you keep forgiving red flags because you're scared of being alone. Weakness is when you can't walk away from disrespect. And during no contact, every second is your chance to burn that weakness out of you, not with words, not with hope, but with absolute execution. Weakness is not what hurt you. Weakness is what kept you in pain long after she left. It's what made you check your phone. It's what made you cry in silence while pretending you're moving on. It's what made you lower your standards just to feel close to someone who stopped respecting you the moment you stopped respecting yourself. You say you're strong, but if she texted right now, would your hands shake? Would you hesitate? Would you break no contact and dive head first into the same cycle that destroyed you before? If the answer is yes, then that's the weakness. We kill you, don't manage it, you annihilate it. You take the parts of yourself that needed her and you rip them out. The validation seeker, the emotional beggar, the boy who needed love to feel whole, and you replace him with something dangerous, something undeniable, something she never expected you to become. Because a man who still craves closure is a man still chained to her control. And closure doesn't come from her words. It comes from your fire, from the rituals you build when nobody is watching. You stop saying I deserve better, and you start becoming better. You shut your mouth and start producing. You speak only when your presence demands attention. You don't argue anymore. You don't chase anymore. You're not here to be understood. You're here to be respected. You start fasting. Not just from food, but from weakness, from excuses, from scrolling, from neediness. You embrace discomfort because that's the breeding ground of strength. You choose cold showers because it resets your nervous system and forces your brain to obey. You train at 5 a.m. because that when most men are still sleeping in their fear, you push beyond failure, not to get a six-pack, but to build a mind that doesn't quit. You say no when your body screams yes, because discipline is louder than desire. You look in the mirror and stop asking if you're enough. You decide that you stop reaching out. You stop explaining. You stop fantasizing, because every fantasy about her is a delay in your destiny. You've got a mission now, a war to fight, a body to rebuild, a purpose to lead, and weakness has no place in that journey. You stop venting to friends who coddle you. You surround yourself with killers, men who call you out when you're slipping. You get around accountability. You stop tolerating softness in Your life, no more late nights, numbing yourself with distractions, no more playing victim, no more blaming her. She exposed your weakness. Good. Now use it. Let her walking away be the last time anyone underestimates you. You think your heart is broken. That's not your heart breaking. That's your ego dying. That's the boy inside you being ripped apart. So the man can rise, but he can't rise if you keep patching the wound with comfort. He can't rise if you keep trying to find love before you found yourself. You build so much self-respect that her opinion no longer penetrates your phrase. You cut off corn, you delete her number, you block her access, not out of hate, but because the man you're becoming has no space for energy that drained him. And the next time you feel that emotional wave coming, that urge to text, that punch of loneliness, that ache in your chest, you don't run from it, you sit in it, you let it burn, and in that burn you whisper to yourself, good, let it hurt, let it fuel me. That's how you burn weakness, by letting pain sharpen you instead of soften you. Most men drown in heartbreak. Few use it to rise. You rise now, not tomorrow, not after a sign, not after she regrets it. You rise because it's who you put in reps. While others scroll, you fast. While others binge, you create. While others consume, you face your demons and thank them for showing up. And when people look at you and ask what change, you don't answer. You let your presence speak, because words are cheap, results are final. During no contact, the weak wait and wish, the strong execute and evolve. You're not in no contact, you're in rebirth. Every second of silence is a test of your character. Will you fold or will you forge? And if you fail, you start again and again and again until the man you'd used to be is a ghost, until she looks at you and sees nothing familiar, not in your face, not in your voice, not in your energy. You become unrecognizable because the man she knew was built on weakness, and the man you are now, he's built on discipline. You conclusion, don't rise by chance, you rise by choice. She left, and that was your invitation to become who you were always meant to be. Not a man who waits, not a man who explains, but a man who moves, a man of silence, power, and unshakable presence. This isn't about her anymore. It's about you versus who you were. You either stay buried under heartbreak or you burn through the pain and stand on top of the ashes. You are not broken. You're being built. Every second of silence is your battlefield. Every day without her is a gift. Use it, own it, dominate it, because the man who rises from this becomes untouchable. If this message lit a fire in your soul, like, comment, subscribe, comment below. I rise from the ashes. Support this channel so more men can hear the truth and rebuild their power. Your support makes this mission global. Share this with someone who needs to hear it, and watch how many kings rise beside you.